We'll call this meeting to order. If you will, first piece will be reading of the minutes from September meeting.
I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve minutes as read. And a second. Any more discussion on that? If not, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Minutes are part of our record. Moving next, you'll see your trustees balance, trial balance. I will mention here at this time, Mr. Dennis and I have discussed a few times here on this piece lately, just had some discussion trying to understand a little bit more about where some of our dollars are at and where those dollars that which dollars we're looking at here. So is something we have discussed a little bit in the last 2 weeks.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Dennis.
question. Frazetta County's fiscal year takes place. When does the switch change?
We run July 1st to June 30th.
You'll see that note there, the trustees note under your trustees balance, trial balance sheet there, talking about the checking accounts and the rates of what that money is drawn. That was a question we have, part of the questions that have come up that we were asking.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
clarification purposes. The 999-11130-21, that's a checking account.
I have to ask, to be honest with you on that one, but it doesn't say CD, so I'm assuming it's a checking account.
Then the one with the same numbers but 30. I'm assuming the checking accounts are the larger.
I think that's correct. I think that's correct. Everything that is a CD, she's marked for us as CDs that are sitting in X percentage at this point. I think I follow what you're probably saying there in this case.
I can tell you that 2 of those are checking accounts, the one that ends in 777 and the one that ends in 0551. The other ones, I don't have much knowledge on.
All right, so we're 777. That's the one you were first discussing.
Mhm.
And then 0551.
Yeah, so 21 and number.
So those
30.
are checking. Does the Mr. Dennis, I'll leave that. See if you've got another question further.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just the question is where the rates are right now from an investment standpoint. mean, I don't want to tie our hands as far as being able to get the funds as needed. $8-9 million in checking account, I understand there's a lot going in and out. But can that be squeezed in at all for potential investment? Whether that be, not just a checking account, but whether it be a money market account for the county that might be paying a higher yield. We've not been in a interest rate environment in 20 years where you shop an interest rate to make any difference one way or the other. But we are now, and that might be something that we need to be looking at as far as, I don't want us to jeopardize our cash flow, don't get me wrong. There's differences in penalty versus a money market CD. And what does those penalties look like? Well, as a general rule, if it's less than 12 months, it's only a 30-day interest penalty on a CD. Money market doesn't have that. Just things that we might have to look into to take advantage of an income stream we hadn't seen in 20 years.
I think the individual we'd have to discuss with there be Cindy.
Mhm.
What? I think leading to where you're going, what are our monthly draws? Payroll, for example. Rough estimate.
I haven't looked at that number. I want to say it's 170.
170,000 a month.
Mhm. Might need to circle back around.
Okay. We move on, we'll circle back to that conversation.
But I just looked, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, sir.
I just looked at, the eval over the past several months, and the ins and outs month over month are pretty flat. And I say that loosely. There's, $500,000 swing month over month. We've got 8-9 million. Multiple times what the swing would be cash flow wise. Just wondering if we can do something, get more bang out of the buck.
That's something the mayor needs to discuss with the trustee, or something we need to, or I mean, that's my sister, I could talk to her, I mean, who needs to talk?
Anybody can talk to her. If anybody from this committee would like to discuss, they can.
I think the first thing we,
I just-
Showing a couple instances over here. One on one drill, investment in it's 131%, which is 52,553, and we had 40 there. And we got another one that was lower, revenues is 82%. So what Will was saying, could be done, even if we done in the work. And you take it in that we went to.
if you'll notice, those majority of what we're talking about, that interest on your trustees balance is those CDs that you're seeing at 5.25%, things of that nature. And I think that's what Mr. Dennis is getting towards, is that there's $9 billion drawing 0.75% right now in a checking account. And that amount of money doesn't have to be spent tomorrow. Kind
Like
of conversation.
It's like we could utilize some of that money to bring in extra money to take care of some of our other problems.
It could be used to generate funds. Letting your money make money in this case.
And it may need to be put in a fund where, you can reach in and get it if you need. That can be done too.
Well, from his statement there, a 30-day interest penalty that we might be talking about. That's might be interesting to take that look. Nothing, it's never been an issue to look at necessarily in the past. It's an interesting market today.
Is it something auditor, state auditor needs to look at? Something, is that something? They don't care what she does.
No, I mean, as long as it's within the policy.
Well, if we're in a good place as a county and there's dollars available. That's what we're talking about there.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Dennis.
this is, this is not a slam on nobody. We've been in a flat interest rate environment for 15 years. Where it didn't make any difference because nothing was paying any. We're in a little bit different environment right now. Where financial institutions who need liquidity are paying for it. Don't mean to say it this way, but it would be advantageous while that there is a need for it, for the county to take advantage.
The last one was 170.
So, Miss Amy there did take a chance to run that last payroll. So we were looking at 170,000 monthly payroll. And I know that's just payroll.
Well, that's just a bi-weekly payroll.
So
So the October 4th payroll was $170, $170,000. The payroll before that was 176.
So 400 grand in payroll, less than per month. That's what we're talking about.
You got money coming in all the time too. You didn't like to wiping it out. You got sales tax coming every month, which is very strong right now. I believe we would better manage your money and take a look at that.
It's just a market that hadn't been available to us.
It hasn't, but it has been.
But I'm glad Mr. Dennis has got his eye on it. Something we've got to,
Amy, will you see Cindy tomorrow? We mentioned we discussed this tonight.
I will mention that to her, yes, sir.
it appears there's two checking accounts there that we were discussing. Any other discussion on the trustees' trial balance? What is currently sitting in American Rescue completely left up on?
We have $505,037.
Check to see how well taxes are coming in right now.
Which taxes?
That's talking about property taxes.
What is coming in is really good revenue. This is what I looked at, coming in pretty well.
I mean, right now they're coming in at 2.5% for September.
If this is September, this month,
October's your
this
month.
October when they start rolling in. Get that break. It'll show up on the next one.
If individuals are attentive, they might put their money in CD and pay it later.
It'd be a lot paying October.
Generally do.
I know that office has been busy.
She mentioned that the other day. It's been busy. So I would assume we're gonna see a pretty heavy jump in that. Generally, some of your are larger property taxes are paid during that month to say for that savings.
Most of your mortgage companies set it in.
All right, no other discussion on the trial balance. Let's move forward. You'll see your comparisons there, moving forward, as we look through each of the next pieces of our budget. Um, Most expensive, but quite heavy in the one on ones. We look at them, there's gonna be some reason, but
More than likely, it's your one-time payment.
that's what I think. Some of those come out at certain times.
Right. Like all of our software comes out in July, insurance premiums July.
Looking at the 101 revenues side of things.
I'm good, it's all good.
It does appear currently, doesn't it? Sales taxes come in a little weaker. Part of that being due to,
Month behind.
okay, that's what I was about to say. That's my next thought. It's a month behind. Anything in the 101 revenues? Moving on. Look at your expenses, expenditures. I was just discussing with Miss Amy, we saw 30% there, a little bit strong. But some one-time payments seem to be the main issue. I think one of those being, as you mentioned, insurance comes out in a one-time July payment.
Mhm.
So do our,
Most of our software contracts also comes out in July. And then, of course, our nonprofit contributions will come out in July.
in other discussions there in the 101 general expenditures. Moving on, 111 urban service.
We was capital on 46, 840.
The 208%.
I was just noticing that myself, sir.
Yes, 7,000 is not 208%, it's 25,000. I don't know what the reason is.
Just the calculation and then.
So that's about,
Yep, it's picking the bottom number there. Should be 29.9.
$29.9.
what you say, 29, should be 29, should read 29.9,
Mhm.
the 46,840.
And then the next row down is 22.7.
46,970 should be, where it's got the reference there, like there's an error in the piece, 22.7%. Anything else noticed in 111? That'll give her a total toward.
It's still 10.8.
Still 10.8 on the total.
Mhm.
200%.
Well, that, the percentages are based on the revenue on the column.
Everybody else comfortable there with 111 now, moving on to 116. Again, we'll see revenues lagging a bit, property tax being the large portion that's not showing. Those are primarily paid twice a year, October and February. Moving from 116, if there's no discussion there, 118 ambulance. You'll see on the 118, you've got the breakdown on the next page as well of your of where the expenditures are. Noticing the PRN position still not been utilized, that line.
Correct. No, I'm sorry. That's your part-time personnel positions and you have 3469 coming out of that.
Oh, which budget? Gotcha. Yes, sir, Mr. Dennis.
Question on the revenue side of things. This on property tax, we got a -4.1.
That 331 should have been a negative. Let me correct that real quick. So it is a 4.1, not a negative 4.1,
Explaining why the 331 is negative.
because that is your discount on property tax.
So will that change our numbers at the bottom?
Slightly, your actual balance should be 109,543. And the percentage is 8.4.
All the same piece, but since that this $8,000 is a expected law, a discount to the property tax, I thought it might have been running somehow with a positive number. Any questions in the expenditure side of the 118?
We got one down.
Mr. Ford?
What about the overtime pay? One city budget 340,000 over here
Yes, sir.
and used 2020, 98% of that, so we're still having a huge amount of overtime.
So I think the overtime is down on that part. You've got to remember that. The way that is paid, there is an expected overtime already set with your employees working 96 and 108, I believe. So each bi-weekly, one's 96 hours with their, in case, 16 hours of overtime. And then one's 108.
I'm still paying those people.
We will always pay that amount for overtime. That's gonna always go into that position. It's the way those positions are 24-hour positions.
I understand what you're saying. It still looks like it's awful high.
I understand exactly what you're looking at there in this case. Number of employees in this case. That previous year.
Yeah.
What are some of the 28,000 more?
Yes, sir.
And what do you want to look at?
Well, when an individual is receiving 16 and 28 hours of overtime per month, each individual is receiving that total amount of overtime per month. That's going to run that up. It's part of their salary.
I'm not sure beginning, it was budgeted at 300,000, but I know we added to it. I believe it ended up at a budgeted 450,000.
So that, just to make sure that that wasn't a huge padding from last year is what I'll ask her to go back. The original budget on the fiscal year 23, 22, I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
22, 23, yeah, there we go. Was 300,000. So that has been increased by 40,000. Not a huge amount. It ended up closer to 400 if it wasn't 400 last year, or a little bit up above. Right now, I wanted to make sure we weren't seeing a jump there. The reason I asked that question is to make sure we didn't over budget that one and we're still seeing an increase. It doesn't appear too bad.
I mean, technically it is supposed to be in line with 131. So it should be around 14% right now, but it is at 20.
The first 2 months of that, we weren't using the PRN positions either, so maybe that will help on that portion of it. Running a little strong, but not too far off. All right. Any other discussions in the 118? Mr. Ford, as you stated, overtime is certainly something we've got to keep our eye on. It is, can cost us heavy. If not. Final total there of that running pretty fair. Expenditures 17% roughly. 121 pass-through monies. 122, two again, pass-through monies. Uh, 151 debt service.
It's that $3 million we got in bond proceeds. It's gonna throw your percentages off.
That's exactly what I was asking for. So that 3 million that's sitting in bond proceeds is what's sitting at 80%.
Because we paid off the CJC and we paid off the ESI, but we're gonna be refunded them.
Okay. Did y'all hear that discussion? Is everybody clear on? Has those final tallies a little weird looking. However, that is some money we need to keep our eyes on. And where is that $3 million setting? Is it drawing interest? as well. Something to,
Well, the 3 million's been paid out. We received it and then we paid it out.
that's not the 3 million for the school loan,
No, that is sitting in the 141.
that's correct.
Mhm.
It's sitting over in the 141's balance. Appreciate you catching me. Any discussion in the 151?
Mr. Chairman, just a quick question. Where is the 141?
So your 141 general purpose going over, turn 2 pages. General purpose school. So I'm hearing you tell me that that is sitting in one of these accounts. The 1.9 million is sitting in contributions, bond, roof and schoolhouse. There it is,
Mhm.
48 and 130.
But as far as which checking account or CD, I do not know where she's keeping that.
Who is she?
Cindy.
That is under Cindy? Okay. That is still under Cindy Carmen.
Mhm.
Okay. Good to know. I can tell you from discussion this week, that is sitting in a checking account, drawing 0.75%. So that puts its settings at, I believe, Wilson Bank and Trust, but let me make sure of that. That is correct. It is sitting in Wilson Bank and Trust in a checking account.
That's something that's been moved into another, like more.
I think it's a very good move for us to look at that moving forward. That should be sitting in. We're not gonna be, I don't know if you've looked, but there's not a field house getting worked on right now, and there's not a school roof going together right now, so it'd be a lot nicer for that, a large amount of that money to be sitting in a interest drawing account. When you can draw 5.25% on less than a year term right now, it needs to be drawn 5.25%. Certainly. Some portion of it does. That may be a portion that needs to be readily available, but generally things can be paid. Yes, it definitely needs to be sitting in a fund drawing much more than 0.75%. Therefore, meeting the goal of the roughly 4.2, if I remember that correctly, I think was the percent that was borrowed on. So meeting that goal of getting that percentage down to a lower piece, since we're sitting with those funds until project is completed. Hopefully no one makes that mistake like we made on the courthouse.
Mhm.
Again, pays up front. That one slipped by me. We saved $8,000.
And all of a sudden, I don't think so.
I was thinking the same way you were. I think it's gonna cost us.
Did we pay the administrative office off?
Yes,
It was added, so I'm assuming it's been paid off.
So how long is that one? When you say it's a month, like how long has that been set?
Fortunately, since July.
yeah, we received it in July.
Yeah, unfortunately, since July. Better late than never to get our eyes on. Any other discussion between the 151 and 141 as we were discussing those numbers? If not, we will continue with the 131. Of course, pretty much, again, that's you'll see there, 108,000 of county money roughly is budgeted property tax wise. County contribution to the highway department. Otherwise, that's pretty much. I think there's some conversations there where the highway department might could look at some of the monies they have sitting in hand as well, though, in the market we have available to benefit. That's a department that doesn't do a lot through the winter. But go after the money that's available. 141. And I will mention here, I have failed to notice that we were at the quarter. I think our Dr. Satterfield is supposed to have us a quarterly report according to our budget system. I think we're supposed to have a quarterly report. I failed to mention, to try to get that. I'll try to have that one for us for the October meeting. I'm a little bit behind November meeting. I think we're in October already. Any discussion 141? If not, we will move in your agenda next. We'll look at purchasing. This is the quarterly. So this another portion of finance is to look at purchasing.
This represents July, August, and September.
Yes, sir.
Costs us about 12,000 a month and garbage out. Next to the bottom, and then the bottom, $35,390.
Solid waste disposal to Smith County.
About 12,000. Roughly 144,000 a year. That's just a dump.
Yes, sir.
It ain't collected in, ain't the driver, gas, or nothing.
Yes, sir. Fortunately, that's still a pretty good rate Smith County is giving us.
That's good for what, how many years did it guarantee that?
I think it's a 5-year contract. I can go back.
We had that discussion a while back, but I can't remember. I
I
think-
know we got a contract on it so long, I'm sure we have to.
Any discussion there in purchasing?
Always got to get us to the contract on
I'm sorry.
it. Always it's got to get us to the contract on
Yes.
Yes, sir. Oh. We should-
Mr. Chairman, the solid waste is a 5-year contract. It will end August 31st, 2025.
Was a 5-year contract. See plumbing repairs on rescue. Is that the rescue building out here?
Mhm.
I thought there was money allocated to redo part of that restroom.
They have not contracted with anybody yet. I do not know much more on that project.
Who's, oh, that name.
Mr. Bailey,
So that is Mr. Beatty's, the head of that was at this moment.
yes.
Okay.
We still check. When we need gas, we still check with other companies, see which one goes to the plan.
Yes, sir. We send out a bid every 2 weeks.
Fuel is bumping up.
350, 60,000 a year to get, that's everybody in the county. That don't all come out. Of, one county.
Any other discussion in purchasing?
Make motions on that.
No. It would be better to approve the purchasing, yeah. I would entertain a motion to approve purchasing as it is.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve purchasing that we see in front of us. Any other discussion on that? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is pass. Approval there. Next up on your agenda, you will see that we have a budget back in front of us, the sheriff's dispatcher. Miss Amy, I think there was some. This position got missed, it appears, in our budgeting in May. It was on the 101, but not on. Correct me if I'm wrong there. It was not on the one. What am I trying to say? It was in one position, but not the other. Which one was it?
The number of positions that was presented during budget was 7 and not 8. So I'm not exactly sure where the miscommunication was.
The 101 had 4 dispatchers. The other 131, I guess it was, had 3.
Exactly. Mhm.
That was the discrepancy that we missed.
So are you wanting this one to come? I'm sorry.
I don't know the answer of who that person is.
So is this coming out of 101 or 111?
101. So I told we just gonna approve dispatch out of 111 on our budget.
So is that where the dispatcher got?
I don't know.
So 111 was where the discrepancy between that and the other. There was 4 requested in one and 3 on the other. That's where we might have missed it. So it's coming out of 101. Urban Service voted to only fund one dispatcher.
We make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the budget amendment for dispatcher coming out of the 101 general fund. Do I hear any discussion? That will put at a total of 8 positions
Yes,
added to the sheriff's department this year. 8 positions added to the sheriff's department this year. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is a favorable recommendation to the commission. Next up, you'll see the health department. The additions that were approved from ARPA funding for the adding on to the health department. I don't like assuming, so I'm hoping this means that the county highway department has donated a piece of land or whatever's happened there. So we're at a point where that has been taken care of already.
I have not heard on the land donation. I just know that they are moving forward with the projects. I think alterations to the plans have been made where they're not going to need as much land, if any.
So is the cost still gonna be the same?
I believe so. At least that's what the grant is being funded for.
So we're out, we're spending $133,000 in that ARPA funds.
Yes, sir.
Which one of the ARPA funds is it coming out of?
It came out of 128.
And 16. Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second, any discussion? If not, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Any opposed? Oh, that does favorably pass.
If I recall, and I know you're thinking the same thing as why did the pricing change? I think they're going, instead of going out this way, maybe they're going back narrow. Am I correct about that?
I don't know specifics, I'm sorry. I know that the grant was always originally the 495.5,
Right.
and I'm just appropriating that amount.
Maybe the layout changed.
Okay. Moving on. You'll see that we have the multimodal grant, sorry about that. This is the sidewalk piece. It's going roughly up the Broadway here towards Sonic, that direction toward the administrative office. I think it takes the entirety of Broadway, right?
It goes from Depot Street up to McMurray.
What was making the 65,000 out of?
I'm out of fund balance.
Urban Services.
111.
A motion to approve.
Second.
Motion seconded to approve this. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. It is approved favorable. Vocational programming, Spark grant is what we're looking at next. It's 141 school. I think the next two could actually be. Both 141 could be looked at together. These are both grants.
I love the good budget. I'm like, no,
Motion to approve and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor, let me know by stating aye. It is a favorable. That brings us to any discussion items that anyone wants to bring to the table. Any members here want to bring any discussion items up? At this point, I see none. Any public comments? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn. Apologize. We did both those together. Yes, sir. I had a motion to adjourn. I had a second. You're good. All those in favor, let me know by stating aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.